Gnawing Cold. It happened in late October, when else does love strike with such potency? The wind is bitter, the Vegas floor is cracked with the pain of extreme cold and a wretched dislike for moisture. The modern sands of the meadows separate and bleed the cries of centuries marred by bitter, tasteless decadence and primitive hedonism. The earthbound knuckle has long since passed, but even at the end of the 20th century, Cro-Magnon mentality still expels its venomous odor into Vegas's neon palaces and envelops those who dare tread where addictions run deeper than steel needles under Tangier stars. The desert signature wind chill factor gnawed at my joints, making me fear life past 40, though I have never thought of life past 30 as anything but the inevitable deterioration of all that is precious, all that is matter. These bitter winds swept my darling Audine across the deserts and into my tragedy. The incision was made in 6 weeks' time, from my first glance at her beauty until the day I would see her no more. We stood side by side, inhaling carcinogens outside of the Plaza Hotel. She was a vision. Her calm, light skin glowed naturally beneath her dark, subtle eyes, and her delicate nose was peppered with youthful freckles. She wore no makeup, and from where I was standing looked like she had never needed to. Her short, mousy brown hair was kept hidden beneath a soft knit cap that covered her head like a big sister hand-me-down. There was no facade about her, only a brutal and sad truth that she seemed to keep at bay just below the surface. Audine was not a woman who would cause legions to wage war, but a woman whose eyes told of the pain that such spontaneous men of ignorance had left in their wake. A woman who had been murdered by another's passion. She felt the pain I felt, but without my tempered logic. We began speaking to each other strangely. Unlike the beginning of any acquaintance, I, quite by accident, stepped on her wonderfully delicate feet, and she instinctively delivered a shot to my midriff that sent me stumbling. Such intensity should never have been hidden behind such cold, earth-colored eyes. But who was I to deny the beauty of Gaia as a disguise for ill-tempered logic and razor-sharp instincts? Nice shot. Fuck off. She never looked up. What's your name? Look, I said. Fuck off. Yeah, I know. I asked you another question. When she lifted her head, I smiled. I'm Dean. Nice to meet you, Dean. She didn't return my smile. She was like a serpent that finds its spine against an impenetrable barrier. Striking out is the only option, and death of opposition is the only acceptable end result. We returned to silence, but I couldn't leave it alone. Have a nice evening. I crushed the remains of my cigarette against the sole of my shoe and tossed it in a long arc into a nearby advertisement-littered trash bin. Audine. My name's Audine. She offered her hand to me, her long fingers wrapped pensively around my hand, but seemed to relax and enjoy the warmth of the embrace. She pulled her hand away after a long moment and tucked it back into her long navy coat, as if the entire episode had never happened. It's a pleasure. Mind having a drink with me? She thought about it for a moment and then relented stoically. Sure, why not?
That's great. Yay.